All right, Shalom. Before I begin, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone Well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the full elect that is out there pushing, laboring, believing, and listening on to this truth with our sincerity. All right, may the blessed election be upon your houses. All right, the title and topic of this lesson is going to be, all right, patience is key. All right, patience is key. All right, before I even, jump into it, really, I want to start out with this precept right here. This is Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, the second chapter, verse 14 reads, "Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will you do when the Lord shall visit you?" All right, woe unto you that have lost patience. All right, you have a lot of, individuals that have, come and go, from this walk, that have lost that patience ultimately, that had went back into the world, that ultimately fell out from this truth, man. All right. What will you do when the Lord shall visit you, man? Those that have ultimately didn't have that patience, that ultimately quit, that went back to the folly, went back to the vomit. All right. The judgment that's going to fall upon them is going to be far worse, man, because they knew better. Right. They had tasted of the heavenly gifts, man. They know right from wrong, man. Yet they still went back unto the world. Again, this is why patience is key. Some people, especially, you hear this a lot with, people in the world, they say things such as, I've been hearing the Lord is going to return for the longest. My grandmother said it. My mother said it. My father said it. The pastor say it, but where is he? Right. They don't have that patience. Right. And also, let me get this. This is the definition for patience, right? This is just from the Google AI overview, right? And it reads, patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delays, hardships, or difficult people without being annoyed, anxious, or angry. It is an active state of calm endurance and steady perseverance rather than just passively waiting for a situation to change, right? And one of them words that really stuck out, right? It says it is an active state of calm endurance and steady perseverance, man. Right? So when you have patience, you have that endurance and also that perseverance, right? And when we go into that word, get that definition for that word perseverance, right? It says perseverance is a steadfast, continuous effort to achieve a goal despite difficulties, delays, or setbacks, right? Continuing on, it says it is refusal to give up when faced with adversity, combining patience, resilience, and determination. All right. So again, having that patience, right, that perseverance, all right, to keep on going, keep on pushing, keep on serving Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, right? The scripture says, though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come, right? We already see the state of the world. We already see the times that we're in, right? These are signs to let us know that we are inching closer and closer to the return of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, right? But yet you have people that will see all these prophets going by, right, and happening, getting ready to happen, and yet you lose that patience, man. Right? When you come into this walk, when you come to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, patience and being patient is a very crucial and key attribute and characteristic to have. All right. Let me jump over here. This is Galatians, the 6th chapter, verse 9. All right. And it reads, "And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall weep if we faint not." Right. Ultimately, we are striving for salvation, right? We are striving for, the kingdom, right? To be a part of that elect, right? To get that deliverance, man. Right. So if we are continually, keeping that patience, right? Not being weary, right? Keep fighting, keep pushing, then what? We're going to reap that reward, right? And like it says in letter N, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not, right? So if we keep that patience, keep that faith, right? We're going to reap the reward, man, right? The reward of immortality, that reward of salvation, right? All the rewards that the Lord has stored for us. We have to keep the patience and keep the faith in order to receive these things, man. All right. Anything that is worth having, anything that is, great to have. All right. You have to have a level of patience, a level of perseverance, a level of, endurance, right? Determination. All right. Keeping your eye on that prize, right? When you look at, these athletes, right? I like to use athletes a lot as an analogy because it's a great comparison. All right. They'll be putting in that work for months, weeks, years on end in order to what? Reap that reward, man. Right. Shit. Just recently, right, you had the New York Knicks win the championship. Right. You had Jalen Brunson, right, who was a point guard for the Knicks. He took, he had took a ultimately like a pay cut, right, in order to allow the team to be able to bring, better athletes on, right? So ultimately what I'm trying to say is he had that patience, right, for them to have a great team to win the championship. So we need to have that similar mindset of, having patience and endurance and perseverance and serving the Lord continually, right, in order to reap that reward, which is what? Salvation, the kingdom. All right. That is the end goal, right? Keep constantly remembering the end goal, right? We live in a day and age in a society, in a world where people are constantly, wanting that instant satisfaction, that instant, gratification, man. They want things right then and there, right? This is a this is a microwave society, man, right? Where these people cannot wait. Your average person's attention span is like 5 to like 30 seconds, man. After that, they're gone, right? So again, when you come to serve Yahweh B'Shem Ashad, patience is key, man. All right, everything is gonna happen in due time when it needs to happen, man. The Lord is about, perfection, man. The Lord is perfect. All right. So as long as we can, keep that faith and keep that patience and faint not, right, we are going to, reap that reward. All right. This is Galatians. It's a lot here. Trying to close this ad out. It's Galatians, the 5th chapter, verse 7, and reads, "Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waited for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh." All right, so we need to have that patience, because at the end of the day, right, we're seeing all these things happening, and it's letting us know that, it's almost that time, man. It's almost that time, right? When you got a farmer, right, that's growing a crop, they plant the seed, they water the crop, they tend to it daily, right, making sure it's growing, there's nothing wrong with it, right? But they have to have that patience in order for it to fully ripen up to be harvested, man. Right? They can't do it too early. They can't do it too late. Right? They have to get it right when it's ripe, man. Gotta have that patience, man. Right? And same thing now. Right? We're seeing that we are close to the time. We're seeing that we're close to the return of Yahushua HaMashiach, man. So we have to keep that patience, stay steadfast, right? Because it is almost time. We are truly, how I could say, like we're like in that fourth quarter right now, man. Right? You just have to keep on pushing, man. It's almost time. It's almost there. All right. Right. This is Matthew the 24th chapter, verse 13. It reads, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." Again, right? We have to endure. We have to keep the patience. We have to keep the faith. We can't be weary. All right? Because the scripture says, "He that endure to the end shall be saved." Right? So you can't quit. You can't lose the patience, man. You can't lose, the faith in other terms, man. You can't become weary. All right, when we're so close to the end, man, it's like someone running a marathon, right? And they're right there at the finish line, right? The finish line is right around the corner, right? And they just gave up on the race, man. They just said, throw in the towel and just give up, man. But they were literally a few steps away. Once they hit that corner, a few steps away from passing that finish line, right? And right now, this spiritual finish line is around the corner, right? It is evident. It is obvious at times that we're in that we are truly in the final days. All right. The average person in Babylon, right? Your average Babylonian is talking about, hey, this is the final days. It's the end of times. It's the end of the world. Whatever they want to, label it as, right? But it's truly the end that we are living in, man. We are living in the final days. So we have to stay faithful, steadfast, keep the patience all the way until the end, because we're almost at the end. All right. And Lord willing, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all right, will have mercy upon us, right? Be found pleasing in the sight of the Lord, and we are a part of that number to be, ultimately saved out of this place. Right? We want to receive salvation. We want to receive those incorruptible crowns. Right? We want to, get into the kingdom, man. Right? That's what we're striving for, man. We're striving for the kingdom. We're striving for salvation. But in order to, reap these rewards that is, stored in heaven for us, right? We have to do what? We have to keep that patience, man. We have to endure, right? Going back again to that definition right here, perseverance, right? Continuous effort to achieve a goal despite difficulties, delays, or setbacks. So you have to have that steadfast effort no matter what is thrown at you, man. No matter what, trials, tribulations you're going through, no matter what, the spiritual demons is trying to sift you out, trying to, knock you off your pivot, trying to put wicked thoughts in your mind, trying to vex you. You have to keep that patience, keep that perseverance, and continually push, fight, and strive, because the end is near. We're almost at the end, right? We already know who's going to win at the end. So we have to keep pushing, man, and keep the patience. All right, because we don't want to be like the ones that lost that patience, man. The scripture says, woe unto them that have lost that patience, man. Right? What shall they do when the Lord shall visit them? Right? That's the worst position you would want to be in, man. Right? Was once having the patience and gave up the patience. Now, when it's time for that time when now you got to deal with the Lord. Hey, that's a terrible seat or position to be in, man. Right? So again, it would behoove you to keep that patience, because the end is almost near, man. We almost at the end. All right. But hey, I'm gonna wrap it up with that. The point has been made. Lord willing, so is edifying to the elect of Israel. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakwakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of Well. Peace, blessings, salutations to those elect that is out there pushing, laboring, believing, and listening on to this truth with our sincerity. Until next time, shalom, and a ball, Kwame Sharala, shalom.